Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today is Sunday, August 2nd, 2022, and I'm going to winterize all of my outdoor faucets and my irrigation system, and I thought I'd bring you guys along while I do it. So as I've explained in other videos, this is a pressure balancing loop that provides the water to my balcony, outdoor spigot, the driveway, and then this goes all the way to the front of the house for the irrigation. So the first thing I'm going to do is shut off any incoming water. Now, because it's fed from both directions, you've also got to shut it off down here. Okay, so now no more water can get in to any of these. I've also gone into the Ranchio app and put it in standby mode for the winter, so it doesn't try to come on and irrigate the lawn. I will be manually activating it here shortly once we get air pressure hooked up out at the manifold, but I'll show you that in a minute. So next step is I've just got this hose here, and I take this, I run it over, and I just drop it down into our sump pit here. And I'm going to open this up, and it won't really drain a lot out right now because there's no air behind it. So what I'll do is go up and open up the spigot on the balcony and then the driveway, disconnect the hose on the driveway. There's no hose on the balcony. And then we'll go out front to the irrigation, and we'll purge it from the backflow preventer. And I'll show you how I do that. So yeah, let's head up to the balcony and open that up, and then this will start draining down here, and it'll just drain everything right into the sump pit. Alright guys, up here on the master bedroom balcony, I'm just going to go ahead and open this up. So that's fully open, and we'll just leave that open. Usually even in the winter I'll leave it open or partially open, just so that any water, anything that did get in there, the air can drain down behind it. But that's fully open, nothing coming out, so we're going to let that drain backwards down into the basement, and we will go to the driveway. Sorry, my shadow's in the way here. There's the spigot. Okay guys, over here on the driveway side now, I'm going to go ahead and remove the hose to the hose reel here. We'll let that drain out down into the drain here, and then we're going to just open this up and leave that open, and that should be draining back down into the basement as well. And all that's left is the irrigation out front for the sprinklers. I'll go show you that. House here, and this is where that 1-inch water line for my irrigation comes out, goes into the backflow preventer, comes out and goes down, and there's an irrigation box underground right here, which we'll dig into in a little bit, open up the air vents on that. So first what I do is I do have a hose I usually keep over here in the corner just for watering some of the flowers and stuff out front here. We're going to go ahead and open that up. That's just under pressure because it's one of those expanding hoses, and we're going to open this up. And you can hear it gurgling there. So inside, that 1-inch pipe actually comes over, comes up, comes over here, and it runs down the main I-beam in the basement, which I've got other videos on that. But yeah, so we'll leave that open, we'll let that drain, and we'll go down in the basement. Okay, back down here in the basement, and all of these are open. So the balcony we did, the driveway we did, and the irrigation we did. So these are all empty. There is water up to here and water up to down there, but everything else is drained into the sump pit. So one thing that I like to do is I go ahead and, obviously this is low here because it's in a little bit of a dip, and then it rises back up. So there is a little bit of water in this line. So I like to just take this off and lift it up into the air. And I also like to just put a little cup right there, because this will keep dripping any residual water that's left in the pipes, and it'll do that for probably a good month. But I just leave it open, and every now and then I'm down here quite a bit, so I just empty it out. It's no big deal. But this will lift up. All that water into there. And we are good with that. Put that washer back in there. We'll hang on to that for other uses down here. So yeah, we're good with these. Now let's go out and we'll work on disconnecting the hose reels, laying those out to drain, and we'll work on purging the air out of the irrigation system. I'll show you how I do that. Okay guys, back out here at the backflow preventer, and there's really only two tools we need to do this. A flathead screwdriver and just a wrench, and I'll show you what the wrench is for in a minute. I've got my 60-gallon compressor tank filling up in the garage with air, but first, right now, because this is backflow prevented, everything on the inlet side of the backflow preventer is now depressurized, but on the secondary side this all still has pressure in it, so I don't want to go releasing my plug here to attach my air line to pressurize it if it's still got 65-70 pounds of air in it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go in here to the Ranchio app, click next, and we're going to cycle it just for 1 minute. Should be plenty. We'll click run. That's going to go ahead and open up that valve in the irrigation box and go to rise the sprinklers, but since there's no pressure, it can't, you know, there's no water coming in, so it won't rise them. So now at least it's depressurized. That valve is open for 1 minute. Any pressure that was in there has now been released out to the system, so we're good to go opening up this plug. So let's go get our hose and roll that out here. Another thing I like to do is I do like to turn this off because it's not really good to run air pressure through these backflow preventers. They're not really meant for that. I also pull these caps off here, and I will usually open these up because these do contain a little bit of pressure in them. So that's open and that's open, and we're going to leave those open. Eventually for the winter we'll leave them at 45. We'll actually leave everything at a 45-degree angle, but for now we're just going to block this off so that the air pressure that we're going to connect up to here can't go back in and damage this. It can go down in and out the valves. So let's go get our hose and I'll show you what I use for hose and why. All right, back here in the garage, compressor's full. We're up to 135 psi, which is the max. Now we don't want to go blasting 135 psi through the irrigation. It might be okay, but you know, it's used to really only getting 65-70 pounds of water pressure. So what I did is off my compressor here, I run this down through a pressure regulator here, and we'll go ahead and power that up. And that is set to right now about 62, and that's pretty much where I leave that set at. I can dial this down for other tools, but off the end here, in years past I tried just rolling out this 1/4 inch by 100-foot polyurethane hose from Harbor Freight out there, because I've got to get pretty much from the back of my garage to the front of my house, and this will make it in length, but it doesn't have enough size to move enough volume to properly raise the sprinkler heads. I mean, you'll get the pressure, you'll get 60 psi out there, but it can't move enough air through this hose fast enough to raise up those heads and keep them up for a good minute or so. So I tried 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch hose that I had, regular air hose, and it worked, but not great. So ultimately a couple of years ago what I did was I had a bunch of extra 5/8 inch PEX laying around from the driveway project, and if you guys haven't seen the heated driveway project, I'll put a link to that up above. So while this is not the easiest to work with because you've got to wrestle with it and roll it out there, it just takes me 5 minutes. I cut the zip tie and I'll carefully unroll it all the way down the driveway and out to the front of the house, and then I'll hook up my fitting here right into that PVC cap. I'll take that cap off and roll this in, and I'll show you how I do that. But this works great. This definitely puts out enough volume. It'll raise the heads for a good 30 seconds, 45 seconds until we run out of air pressure. The compressor will kick on, but it really can't keep up. It can't sustain that for a long period of time. So what I'll do is run it for a minute, run the front yard for a minute, turn it off, let the compressor build back up, maybe run the front yard for another minute, turn it off, let the compressor build. Then I'll run the side yard and the out by the street, which is zone 2. I'll run that, and we'll just keep going back and forth. This thing gets a good workout on these days, but I've never had a problem doing it this way. Ideally, and what the irrigation companies use is more of a lower pressure but high volume compressor that doesn't need to go up to 135 psi, more like 60, 70, but it can move tons more volume of air at once than what this can, and the compressors can keep up with it, you know. So less pressure, more volume is good for purging irrigation systems. However, this is what I got to work with, so this is what we're going to use. Alright guys, it's not the easiest way to do this, wrestling around that PEX, but you know, it does work and it's free. I've looked at buying 3/4 inch, you know, rubber hose or airline from Granger and other places, and man, it's expensive when you start getting up into those bigger sizes, and I need at least 100 feet, maybe more. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo this cap here. Should be no pressure on it, so nothing should really come out, just water. And some pipe dope that I put on there. And then we're just going to take the end of our PEX here that we've now got run over. And this doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be air. Now, I mean, you want it as airtight as you can get it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just gonna thread this in. Now, how it's spinning is, it's actually spinning the fitting inside the PEX crimp. And while that's not ideal, you know, it works. And again, this doesn't have to be watertight. It's just has to be tight enough to hold air while we do this for short bursts. So. Sorry about the camera work here. I'm trying to get you guys set back up so you can watch me tighten this. And I don't want to go too crazy. I don't want to crack that plastic fitting, because this is plastic, this is steel. So we'll just get it tight. This should be the last turn. I'm happy with that right there. Okay. So now we'll go back into the garage and we'll open up our valve to put some air on this. Now it won't go anywhere because we're closed here, and the valves in the irrigation box are also closed. So it will pressurize the sprinkler line with 62 psi only up until the irrigation box, and that's down in here. I can dig and show you where that box is here. If I can find it myself. I know it's in here. It's right there. So I'll get a shovel. We'll just dig that out, open that up, and I'll show you that. Okay. Got our pipe run all the way to the front of the house. Hooked up. Let's go ahead and pressurize it here. There's a lot of line to fill here, even though we don't need all of it. The rest of it's just coiled up by the front porch. I'll show you that. But this might be enough to kick on the air compressor. If it gets below 90, it's going to come on. Just go ahead and... There we go, wide open on that. So this whole line now is charged. It was not enough, which is okay. So we're going to leave this on auto, so this will come on and fill itself as needed. And we'll go out and do the rest from the phone. It's pretty easy. All right, back out front here, and I just wanted to show you guys something. So in the garage, this PEX is marked with length stamps on it, and in the garage we're at 0. So this starts at 0. And just to see where we are here, find the next length stamp, which is right here. We are at 125 feet, and that's to here. So that might get us around the corner over to our valve, but we probably would need more than that. Probably another 10 feet would be nice. So if I did order a 3/4 inch hose or a bigger hose, you know, we're probably going to want that to be closer to 100 and, I don't know, 40, 150 feet, which it gets expensive. So anyway, we're all hooked up here. I don't hear any leaks, which it really doesn't matter anyway. It's just air. So let's go ahead and on the old app here, we are going to do a quick run on the front yard, and you'll see the sprinkler heads pop up and it'll start purging all the water out of them. Do front yard next, and let's go ahead and run it for 1 minute, because I don't think we're going to get much more out of that before the compressor kicks on. So go ahead, run. So as you can see, it's blowing air out of them. And eventually, as the tank drains, the compressor will kick on, but it can't keep up. So as the system loses pressure, they'll drop back down. And then we'll go in and let the tank catch up. We'll do it again. We'll do it maybe 4 or 5 times for each zone. See here, we're getting pretty much air now on most of them. We still got a lot of water on the ones that are on the end. So these are still full of water here. It's starting to get air. Yep, see, now we ran out of air pressure. So actually it shut off after 1 minute. So let's go check and see what we're at with the go see what we're at on pressure. So that was 1 minute of running. How many PSI did we use? Oh, not bad actually. It's not bad. Back up here in just a minute. So since we're almost back up to 120, we'll go ahead and go front yard again, and we'll go ahead and give it another 1 minute. Run. I still got some water in there, especially down here at the ends, but we're getting there. We want all that to be out. We don't want any water in there. This ones in the middle look good. Okay, there's another minute. We'll let the compressor catch up. We'll hit it again. So So while we're waiting for the compressor to catch up, let's go ahead and take our hose down the length of the driveway here and go ahead and drain this, get this ready. Go ahead and run it right down to the street here. That should be the end. Got to be careful on the sidewalk. We get a lot of walkers in our neighborhood, and you would think most people could see that, but one year I was out here doing this, I actually had a lady come by and trip on it. I felt so bad, but at the same time I felt like saying, you know, you don't see the big green hose right there. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and disconnect this here, and I also disconnect this, and I bring this hose in. Usually in the spring I pull this off and check the O-rings and everything inside anyway on these hoses, so I don't like leaving any of the hoses outside for the winter. It's just not worth it. Alright, I just heard the compressor kick off, so let's go ahead and give that another run here. Front yard next. Yeah, let's go back down to 1 minute. Run. Still got water down here. Okay, got that hose draining. Let's go ahead and hit the irrigation again. Run, front yard, next. Give it 1 minute, run. Yeah, we're looking pretty good here now. I don't see any water. So this is probably our last run for the front yard. I don't even see any mist anymore out of any of this. All the heads look clear. Yeah. I like to do that, especially on the ones down at the end. That's how you flush them when they're normally running. You pull up on them. You know what? I'm sure that compressor's fine. I'm gonna hit that again real quick. Another minute. Yep, there was our minute. We'll let the compressor catch up, and yeah, so I'm just gonna keep doing that. Let the compressor catch up for a minute. Probably do that maybe a couple more times in the front yard, but hold them open like that and get all the air out, and then we'll move on to the front and the zone over here. We'll do these same MO. I'll bring you back. Guys, so the front yard is pretty much all set. I ran it for another 4 or 5 times, went around, did the purge on them, got all the mist and everything out. So now let's go ahead and run the front yard and the side. Do 1 minute each on these. It's going to be a lot of water to start, although I do have automatic drain valves in the line here, so it shouldn't be too bad, especially up here where we're higher up. Still got a lot of water down there. think I put an automatic drain valve down here. Alright, so that's another minute. We'll let the compressor catch up. And we'll hit this one a few more times. But it's the same MO. I'm not going to bore you with it. We just keep doing it over and over again until we're all clear. So while we're waiting for the compressor to catch up, cool down a little bit, I thought I'd show you the irrigation box here. I've been meaning to get a riser. I've had it in my shopping cart, Sprinkler Warehouse, for a while now and just haven't bought it. But I had to dig some mulch out here and try to clean all this out so it doesn't fall down in when I open this up. I'll show you what the inside here looks like. So here's my valves. And you'll notice one's missing. That's for the drip or shrub irrigation. So here's where it comes in from over there and turns, and then I believe this furthest to the right here is the front yard. The middle one is the side and out by the street, and then this third one here is meant to be for drip irrigation or for the shrubs. I just haven't hooked it up yet. So yeah, I'll leave this open. What I normally do is when I'm all done, there's a little bleeder screw right here. I'll open that up and let air purge out of that for a little bit. That just gets any water that might be sitting in those valves out. And then sometimes I'll just kind of spray this down in here, clean it up, put the cover back on, and we're good to go. Try to clean all this joints and stuff out here without all the garbage falling down into the pit. So anyway, just thought I'd show you what that looks like. I did do all this myself a couple years ago, actually the same year we did the heated driveway. When the yard was all tore apart and everything, I rented a trencher and put the irrigation in. Really simple to do, not hard, and very inexpensive, really. I mean, it's more labor than anything. The sprinkler heads and valves and everything, I mean, I don't know, probably have 250 bucks in all this from Sprinkler Warehouse. So anyway, yeah, I thought I'd show you that. We'll go purge some more zones. Alright, let's run zone 2 again. 1 minute. Next. Oh, yeah. Lots of water in there still. Some of them anyway. Our middle ones are good. Looking good. I don't see any water. And there's our minute. Go ahead and let the compressor catch up, and I don't know, I'll hit it maybe 2 or 3 more times, pull up and purge those ones by the road, and we'll call this a success for today. Depending on the weather, I might come back out here, I don't know, end of October, before things really start freezing. We're not into the freezing temperatures yet, not even close. Well, this week I think one of the lows might be 39, but yeah, I might come out again at the end of the month and just do it again real quick. I mean, it only takes me 5 minutes to unroll this PEX out here and hook it up. The other thing I might try too is, using garden hose. It's not really meant for air, but I'm only putting 60 psi through it, so if I could get a 150-foot roll of garden hose and reel that out here, it might be a little bit easier, as long as it doesn't blow with the air pressure on it. But anyway, we will continue. Okay guys, the compressor's been off for about 5 minutes now. Let's just out of curiosity, let's see. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, the head of that thing's 200 degrees. I don't know if it'll really read this pipe. Even the tank is getting pretty warm itself. So we're gonna give this a break. The motor's not bad, it's 81. But yeah, some of these little fittings, and I mean, it's pretty warm. I usually don't like running my tools this hot. I mean, this is a continuous duty compressor, so I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's rated for this, but I usually don't like to run my stuff to the point where it burns up, you know, and I'm sure this is okay. It's meant to do this, but it's alright. It's almost 1 o'clock. Yeah, Bills game's on today. I'm going to go in and watch them, and maybe halftime I'll come out. I'm going to leave the PEX line connected, and you know, maybe a break in the game or whatever, I'll come out, run each zone a couple more times once this cools off, and then maybe at the very end I'll do the same just to give it a good purge. But I've already done above and beyond what I did last year. You can go into the app and see how many minutes you've run for the month. And like for example here, October's usage is 12 minutes. So one of those was the first minute I ran it to get the air, to get the downside of the valves depressurized, so it really wasn't running at all. So really 11 times so far is how many times we've run this. And I looked at last October, I ran it for 9 minutes. So I did this about 9 times. So I'm already above and beyond what I did. But I like to just make sure the water's out of it. I mean, obviously this doesn't take long. I've been out here doing this maybe 30 minutes, 35 minutes so far. It takes a little bit longer with the camera and stopping and recording, but you know, for those 30 minutes versus having to dig up and replace broken PVC pipes and replace heads and all that stuff, it's just not worth it. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and let everything out here cool down for a good hour, hour and a half. And yeah, get a little warm. We're already down 10 degrees, so we'll just let it chill, and we'll come back out, wrap things up. Okay guys, I've run all the zones several times. I'm really confident there's no air in there. Before we disconnect the air, I do want to turn this on a little bit, and it's going to blow water through the backflow preventer. Not going to let it go back, but it will get any water that's in there out. Get that all cleaned out. And I want to, like I mentioned earlier, I just want to go ahead and open up the bleeder on these control valves here. And all I do is just stick a screwdriver in here very slowly and open it up, and you'll get air out, maybe some water. Opening these up a little bit. This also does turn on the zones. You will see the sprinkler heads rise out there, but you can also manually turn on the zones here too, on and off. Like if you want to manually turn on a zone, you can just turn this and it'll turn it on, but I don't want to do that right now. So pretty confident that that is no water in there. I'm going to leave this unburied right now because I'm going to go ahead and order the 6-inch riser I've been meaning to do. So all I do over here is let me grab my other screwdriver and I'll disconnect this. I'll go in and shut the air pressure off in the garage, and I'll disconnect this, blow a little bit. Well, first I'll blow a little bit more air through here, and I'll leave these at 45s. I'll leave this at a 45, and I'll leave these two at 45s, and I've had pretty good luck with that. So let me go grab a flathead, and I'll be right back. I'll show you that process. Alright, so I went in the garage and shut the supply off. Tank's full, compressor's off. I just shut the shut off coming out to this red PEX. So that's off. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. It's going to bleed whatever's left, whatever pressure's left in these lines is going to bleed it out. Just so when we go to unhook this, we're not getting blasted with 60 pounds of air. Okay, so that's all the air bled out. So we're gonna go ahead and put this at a 45. Go ahead and put this at a 45. 45 leaves it half open so that if there was any water in the ball valve, it doesn't get stuck in there and freeze. And then we're gonna go ahead and put this at 45. And this is pretty much how I leave it for winter. I also put this at 45 too. So sometimes I'll shut that one off just so nothing's climbing up in there, and you know, it is winter. You don't really have to worry about the bees, but yeah. So now what we're gonna do is we'll throw these caps back on here, and we'll go ahead and disconnect this. I really should put some new Teflon tape and pipe dope and everything on that if I don't want to mess with it in the spring, but it's alright. If it leaks in the spring, I'll just unscrew it and do that then. Again, I don't want to crack this, so I'm not going to go too crazy. That's probably good right there. Okay. And that is how we will leave this for the winter. Again, I might come out end of this month and maybe do it again, but I really got all the water out of there today. I'm pretty confident. Probably this year more than I have in other years past. So yeah, we're in good shape. Okay guys, got the hoses in here in the garage. The garage is heated. The garage has radiant heat in the floor. Also has hanging Resinor unit heaters up there, but I don't use those very much anymore now that we got the radiant all fired up. If you want to see how I did all that, I'll put a link up above to the garage radiant. But yeah, just returned everything here to how it was. We got this supply to the PEX shut off. We got the PEX coiled back up. And I just shut this off, and I keep everything pretty much shut off so the minor leaks don't bleed anything down. Compressor's off. We're right back up to 135. Nice and cool, or still cooling down. But yeah, did a lot of work today. You know, we probably could check down here for a little moisture. I bet we'll get something. I do have an automatic drain valve on here, but oh yeah, I got some water in there. So I usually try to keep that drained, but yeah, so we're looking good. I keep the hoses in the garage, just, you know, I could keep them outside, but shouldn't be any water in them. But with the garage being heated, it's just an extra fail-safe. Out here, I've got the hose all disconnected. Usually I'll leave these open. Maybe close them a little bit, but the one on the balcony is still open. And up front, we're still at 45 like I showed you. So yeah, I think we're in good shape here. I'll take you down to the basement and we'll close it out. Okay, and right back down where we started. Everything's still open. I usually will just leave these open all winter. The irrigation control is in standby, which means that it won't run any programmed schedules all winter until spring when I take it out of standby. The loop that supplies water to the balcony and the irrigation is off. I'll usually leave this wide open here, and it drips, you know, it drips a little bit into the container like I mentioned, so we'll just usually just let that sit there, and it'll drip for a while because this 1-inch line runs 100 feet to the front of the house. So the rest of these should be empty because they're up. This 3/4 actually goes over and out right up there to the driveway. This one goes all the way up and through and up to the back balcony. So yeah, that's how I prepare for winter here with the irrigation and with all of my hose bibs. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. Thanks for coming along and watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.